Lusso Realty here in Amarillo, Texas, and I'm here with my new friend, John Douglas with D&D Financial Services. So, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm doing a lot of tax prep right now, and but I do bookkeeping, I do accounting, I do payroll taxes, every kind of tax there is, pretty much anything except for insurance and investments. I do financial coaching. I'm a master coach with Dave Ramsey. So I do a lot of different things, but right now I'm heavy into the tax work.
Absolutely, it's that time of year, so I thought it would be perfect to have him come on to this episode of Learning with Lynsie. You know, I'm a 1099 contract laborer, so I'm self-employed, and I know it's a little bit different than being a W-2 employee, so give us a little of a rundown on what that means.
Okay, well, actually that's a great question because I'm getting that a lot right now. All the 1099s had to be out by January 31st, so everybody's getting them in the mail. And so what that means is you are actually working for yourself. And probably one of the biggest mistakes I see is people take that 1099 amount and put it on their tax return and pay the taxes on it. So when you do that, you're paying self-employment tax, which is a little over 15%. And then you pay your income tax rate, depending on what that is, if you're 10%, 15%, 22%, whatever. So you could be at least 25% tax on whatever your 1099 is. So I'll give you an example. I got a guy just recently brought me in 1099s over $100,000. So he was looking at paying over $25,000 in tax right off the bat from that. So there's a lot of deductions and credits and things we can take because you're self-employed, there's mileage, there's cell phone, there's lots of things we can take a look at. And that's one of the things I do is help kind of work through those and help get that $100,000 down to 60 or something like that, so you're paying a lot less tax.
Man, and that is very helpful when every penny counts, you know what I'm saying? Why is it important to hire a tax professional versus doing it yourself online?
Great question, and unlike what the TV tells you, not everybody can and should do their own taxes.
Oops.
Just like you wouldn't want me to go sell a house one day out of the year, you shouldn't do your taxes one day out of the year.
That is so true.
Right. So,
no for sale by owner. Hire a real estate professional.
Right,
so that makes a lot of sense.
Well, you do what you do and do it well, and let me do what I do. So I know all the tips, I know all the tricks, I know all the loopholes. The tax laws would fill this whole room, and so you don't know all those. You don't deal with all those every day. I do. So that's the best reason. And for just a few $100s for what you would pay somebody like me to do your tax return, I could save you thousands on the things that I see and could do with your return. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, especially to me. John, another thing that I would want to talk about is the myth about getting a big refund.
Okay. Well, everybody thinks they want a big refund. And that's actually not a great thing, because what that means is you have loaned the government money for all of last year. So you are supposed to send, if you're 1099, you're supposed to send quarterly estimates in. If you're an employee, they withhold from your paycheck and send that withholding to the IRS. The more you withhold, then probably the likelihood of a bigger refund for you. But that just means you've loaned them your money that you couldn't use throughout the year. So the ideal situation is zero. You want not to get a refund, and you don't want to have to pay in. And so it's really good that if you do an estimate on your taxes at the end of the year. That's one of the things I do for my clients is, hey, go adjust your W-4 with your employer, or let's adjust your quarterly estimates that you send in so that you're not sending in too much and you're not having to pay at the end of the year either.
Wow, that is definitely something to think about.
It's really one of the biggest myths. Everybody wants the big refund to go buy a new car or remodel the house or something like that. But really what you've done is loan the government all your money that you got refunded throughout the year.
So financially, just save some money throughout the year for that big purchase.
And you know, that's another tip I give my contract employees that get 1099s is when you get income from your, whatever it is you do, real estate, selling a house, take 10 or 15% of that and put it in a savings account for taxes or for those quarterly estimates at the end of the year. Then when it comes time to pay your taxes, you're not getting hit all at once with the whole year's worth of tax.
sounds like you could relieve a lot of stress in many different ways.
I help people sleep at night.
That's right. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to my show today, D.
Yeah.
John. And where can we reach you if we have any questions?
Well, my number is 806-231-2331. You can also reach out to me at my email address, dndfinancialservices@yahoo.com. And I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, everywhere.
Just search for his name and he should pop up. One more question.
Okay.
If I wanted to use you to help me with my tax services, how do I go about that?
Well, you can call me at the number I just gave you or email me. I can set up an appointment. I do free consultations for the first appointment. We can sit down and go through all your stuff. Or if you don't like that stuffy, some people don't like to talk about money. They don't want to talk about taxes. They don't want to talk about any of that. I do a lot of returns electronically via internet, so you can contact me via my email address, or you can call me. We can FaceTime. You don't have to do a stuffy office meeting. You can do it all online. We can do it. I do everything encrypted and secured. So you send me your documents. I do your return. I file electronically. You get that little refund electronically.
Right, there you go. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me and visiting.